Hello, this is János, it's Real World Audio. And for those of you who are new to the channel, my channel is for audiophiles and music lovers, people who want to enjoy music through their stereo or mono or multi-channel systems, and the emphasis being on making the sound of your system enjoyable to your liking. I am not into chasing absolute sound or some quote-unquote perfection, because there's no such a thing. All of the so-called objective ideals of perfection are an entirely subjective framework of those people who come up with those perfect descriptions. So if someone says like this is an absolute system or perfect system or best system, or I have an audio system that beats everything else, it is just a perfect subjective opinion of someone. Even if he quotes quote-unquote facts, those are facts that he has chosen to reflect his own very much subjective and biased opinion. And I frankly don't care at all about things like that. What I care about is to help you to find whatever you are looking for, because I know this is not an easy road, and especially if you want to enjoy music, because nowadays audiophilia, audiophiles, high-end audio has become really something of a niche type of thing, where people are more obsessed about sound, and in many cases it becomes an obsession, an unhealthy obsession, where people turn into how their system can reproduce the sound of a pencil being dropped, or just like or like someone clapping, and then you are just listening to that, which is entirely nonsense. Our focus should be somewhere else. And why is it entirely nonsense to listen to sound effects? Because what you want at home, or maybe that's not what you want, but what I want, and people who watch my channel want, is listen to their favorite music, listen to new music, listen to music they love and they want to explore. And now in this video I'm going to have a look at this. Why is it important that you have your priorities correct, that you have your focus right, and you treat your stereo system as a tool to get what you want, and you are not becoming a slave who is just slaving away to get higher resolution, higher frequency range, more pinpoint stereo image, because it's going to lead you into a very narrow dead end. That's going to narrow and narrow and narrow. So what are we seeing now? I'm looking at my screen, and I'm looking at Mr. Ádám György. He is a pianist. He is a pianist from Hungary, and I'm showcasing him because he is a Steinway ambassador. He's a pianist who has a contract with Steinway that when he is performing, he's allowed only to perform on Steinway pianos, and Steinway provides for him. So whenever, if someone wants to book him to perform, then they also negotiate with Steinway so that there is a Steinway piano where he is playing, and he's also practicing on a Steinway piano. And why is it important? Is he a Steinway salesman, or am I a Steinway salesman? Well, if you are a musician, you know that it's very hard to make a living as a musician, and also it's really really very expensive to get a high quality piano that you can practice on, that you have at home. And often, if you are a very talented musician, this system of Steinway to have ambassadors, it's really I think it's a big helping hand for musicians. But that's not the main reason I'm mentioning it, because I myself, I am not a Steinway ambassador, although even though like Steinway is not my favorite piano brand, not my favorite piano sound, but if I was a pianist, if I was a Steinway ambassador, it also meant that I would be a pretty good pianist, and I would not mind that at all if I could play piano at that level. So why I am mentioning this whole thing is because I had the fortune to meet Adam György, and he was here in Hawaii. He had a concert. This was somewhere around 2010. So this was a couple years ago. So for those of you who are thinking of about him, like hearing him at the Carnegie Hall, he just recently had a concert, October the 5th, Saturday. He was performing at the Carnegie Hall. But those of you who missed him, well, actually you can follow him and find out where he's playing next time. But my main point is not even that. But my main point is that I had the pleasure of hearing him play. So he had a concert here, and it was an kind of like an unusual venue, and of course he was playing on a Steinway piano, and because of the venue, it was I could sit a lot closer to him than in a big concert hall people get to experience a pianist. So it was like a more intimate setting that allowed for a greater appreciation of the piano. I could hear like more of the nuances of his playing than at a regular symphonic concert. So that's why it was something really special. And I after the concert, we also had the chance to pick his brains, have a chat with him, and also I got his CD. And this is not it, I just like went on here online. So this is how the CD looks like, and I have it, and then I listened to it. So this is my point. So that's where all of this is coming to picture with the audio community and Playback, is how his CD, how sounds versus him playing live. And I think this is something as close as most people can get if they don't have like close musician friends, or they don't have musicians in their family, they're not doing recordings by themselves, that you go to a concert and then you hear the person and then you buy their CD and then listen to it, and how does that sound compared to the original event. And of course, in most cases, the piano where it was recorded on and the piano that was played on are usually totally different, because most pianists, when they play at the piano that the concert hall has. And in this case, because he's a Steinway ambassador, his playing is limited to the same. I'm not saying the very same piano he was recording on, but as close to it as humanly possible. And of course, there's some examples, like there was Glenn Gould. He actually played always on his own piano, and when was performing at a concert, and then actually he didn't like doing concerts at all, but when he was doing recordings, he had his piano flown into the concert hall where he recorded. And actually that was really bad because the soundboard of his piano broke, and then he got a replacement one, but since then it didn't sound the same way as his original soundboard sounded, and that drove him nuts. So he kind of went totally nuts just because it was not his not his piano anymore, not that sound. So we can get that much, I would say, tied to the sound, but in this case, like hearing him play a Steinway piano is pretty close to how the signature is when he played for the recording. And now, so eventually, when I played back his recording, at that time I had a system that was my actually it was my stereo 70. So I listened it on a modified stereo, Dynaco stereo 70, and using my void pipes, so single driver speaker and stereo 70. And what and then I heard something, and I had an experience one way. And then I went to see my friend's place, who had an audio store, who's a dealer, and there I listened to with his BAT amplifiers, which at that time they were kind of like the most expensive, most high-end amplifiers, and biggest Wilson speakers. And then I had a very different experience, and I compared the two, and when you just compare the two as an audiophile who is not exposed to real music, then what my take-home message would have been between comparing the modified stereo 70 single driver void pipe speaker compared to the state-of-the-art absolute sound, is that the state of the absolute sound, it had greater frequency extension, it had a lot more detail, like resolution and transparency to the detail, and it's kind of like almost like putting like an extra magnifier glass between you and the music. And I had the experience when I compared the sonic signature of the two listening experiences, that when I had that absolute sound, then it was like the performance was magnified, and I've seen it through a magnifying lens. And now, and that's what audiophiles do, and that's what they say, yeah, it's been magnified, there's greater detail level, there's greater frequency extension, etc., etc. It is a lot better. However, I also had the fortune to hear him play live. And when you hear a live event, there are components to it. And the most important component is when you hear something live, your attention naturally is drawn to the music, not how it sounds. I am a quote-unquote audiophile, or you would say, like Romy would say, audio practitioner. And what I always do at every single concert where I go, I always do like a sonic checkup and listen as an audiophile from the point I enter the area where the performance is going to be. I listen to people just talking before the concert, how the room acoustics is. I walk around, check out how it sounds from different spots, and then when then I observe the performer or performers, and when they sit down and when they start playing, I'm still in an analytical mode, analyzing the sonic abilities and the sonic characteristics as an audiophile would. But then, if the performance is good, which I mean that the performer is interpreting the pieces really well. So here, eventually he played this. I think this was about the time when his recording came out. So I think it was a little earlier than I thought. Not 2010, about 2005, 2006. He played a lot of these songs from the CD. So his CD was fresh, and a lot of material. Just I heard exactly what he recorded, and when he started playing, then after a while you got just sucked into the musical piece, and my attention is not following the acoustical cues anymore. And to me, that is the whole point of music, that you just get sucked into it, you get connected to it, and music is kind of like a bridge. It is a language that transmits things to you, and you are someone who is receiving it. And even there's a good interpreter, who's the pianist in this case, if he is really good, he can in his brain and heart and mind, he can analyze the whole musical piece in a way that he can express it in a way that expresses more than just notes on a paper. Then with that, all of those tiny fluctuations that he is putting in, which is defined by his personality and the mood he is in now, and his thoughts and life experiences, all of that is transmitted through music. And that's the whole point, I think, of music, is that you receive a lot more from the musician than just notes, than just amplitude variation and frequency variation. There's a whole lot more to it. And what I say is a good stereo system, or mono or multi-channel, is the one that allows you to tune into this stream that's coming from the musician, that allows you to interpret, to accept as much as he transmitted when he was playing. And guess what? Through my home system, which was that modified Stereo 70 with the single driver speaker, the sound, when I started listening to it, analyzing it, it was about 90% of what the sound of the original instrument was. It was smaller in perceptible size than the grand piano he played on. It was a little less detailed, little less dynamic, little less in every character. But the overall impression, how the sound was perceived by me, it was the same way when I listened to him play live. And I was shocked, because it was like experiencing the piano and the pianist. And I could receive all of that flow of information that came from him when he was playing live. And when I listened to the absolute sound system, then all of this was lost. I got stuck in focusing on the details, on the minutiae of the sound, which was really, I would say, titillating or teasing, because the detail level was just so overwhelming that the entire message of the pieces were lost. And also one more thing is that from the absolute system, the piano didn't sound like a Steinway piano. It sounded like he was playing, he kind of breached contract, and he jumped ship, and he played on a Yamaha or something like that. It sounded more like a Yamaha piano. And on my modest system, it sounded exactly, you could tell, anyone could tell he is without any doubt, like he was on a Model D, that's it. And I think this is my most important message, that when you think about music reproduction, how it is impacting you, think about the bigger picture, why you want it, what you want. Because if you chase detail and resolution at the cost of integrity, then you're going to pay the price, because you get sucked into a wonderland which is not reality, and you will be on the train towards the land of absolute sound, which has nothing to do with music. So thank you for tuning in. I hope this video just sparks some comments and thoughts. So have an awesome day. Bye bye.